Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carl Perza MMA. I got a fun one today. He is the Filipino Wrecking Machine, UFC veteran, Mr. Mark Munoz, on the way to wrestling practice right now. Mark, how are you doing, my friend?
Good, good. How are you, man? Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely, man. It's an absolute honor to talk to you, a guy that I really enjoyed, watching when I was younger, as well as so many other fight fans out there. Mark, you've been in combat sports for a very long time. You've been doing this before it was cool. You're doing it during the days where people were calling this human cockfighting. It wasn't legal anywhere. People are thinking this is barbaric criminal activity. During the early days, do you have any stories of early promotions, maybe fighting outside, fighting in barns, bars, bad medicals? Do you have anything crazy or exciting?
You know what? I mean, I fought inside a kind of a farm where there were dogs and chickens running around. Uh, I fought, uh, yeah, and I mean, it was crazy that I saw some like dogs running around and chickens running around, and I'm trying to warm up, and I'm almost getting like bit by a chicken and stuff like that. But that's uh that's how I first started. But I just thought it was something normal, like I'm getting ready to fight this guy, but hey, whatever the arena don't matter, So we're just gonna go out there and show off our skills and get paid.
When you first started this, did you ever envision the sport to blow up to what it is today?
No, no, not even close. I got into it because a good friend of mine got me into a Uriah Faber, and he's like, "Hey man, you're gonna make a bunch of money and be famous." And I go, "Dang, really?" um, uh, uh, I was like, "All right, cool, man. Let's do it." And he let me train in his gym, and I was able to be amongst like Uriah, James Irvin, Scott Smith, all these guys that have already been fighting for a long time. I've been around these guys, and actually, I participated in a training camp with Randy Couture in Sacramento, and he's like, "Man, you got a lot of potential, man. You should do it." And I was like, "Dang, that's crazy." And then Uriah like backhands me in the chest. He goes, "See, I told you, bro, you should do it." So from there, I got into it, and a year later, I was in the UFC. It's crazy. Actually, 11 months later, I was in the UFC. So, so yeah, it was a quick turnaround for sure.
You remember where you were when you got the phone call that you were signing the UFC?
Yeah, I actually was at my house just coming home from coaching, and they said I got in. That I was a late replacement fight, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, let's go." So, so I was like, um, man, I was so excited. My manager at the time, Mike Roberts and Jeff Myers, they were like, "Yeah, man, we got you in, man. Let's go." I'm like, "Let's go, let's go." So, super excited about that, and yeah, man, I fought what like 18 fights. I think 18. No, 17 fights in Zufa, and then I think 15 fights in the UFC. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how fast it goes.
You've had so many great fights, but I think one performance that stands out is the Kendall Grove fight. Obviously, a
Oh,
beautiful finish there. Walk me through that final finish if you remember it.
yeah, you know, I remember getting kneed in the face, and then waking up on a double leg. And I was like, oh, I got a double leg. And then I hear my corner say, posture up, ground and pound. So I postured up and I ground and pounded him, and then he turns, and then I stapled his bottom leg, and I was able to finish it like with, they call 'em my Donkey Kong punches from there. I was able to finish him with some ground and pound. Um, but man, yeah, he had me on the ropes, man, in the beginning. He had a guillotine choked, and he had a power guillotine, and I was able to get out of that. And he uppercutted me, and got dropped, and he was just all over me, and then when I woke up on that double leg, I finished it there. So yeah, that was a pretty crazy fight. I
Another
definitely
great one
can't.
obviously was the CB Dalloway fight. You were able to get the finish there in under a minute. How amazing of a feeling was that?
Oh man, it was amazing. And CB, I mean, he won the Ultimate Fighter at the time. You know, he did really well there, and I actually wrestled him in college too. So I was like, man, I got the wrestling game on point. So I'm just gonna like just throw caution to the wind and see where he has, see what kind of chin he has. So and that's what I did. I was like just I was just I just it didn't matter like what if he was gonna shoot or anything. I just was confident that I can shut him down. And so yeah, I was just throwing some haymakers at him and caught him on the chin. So pretty fortunate that happened.
Following that, you're on a roll, obviously taking off Damian Maya, and then you get a headlining bout. You get a headliner show against Chris Lieben. What was it like to be on the billboard as the headliner?
Man, that fight, I ended up getting on like 3 weeks notice, and I was like 230. Um, and I was like, man, this is the fight for me to this on my number one contender fight. I'll be able to fight for a title after this. So, and this guy's a wrestler, so if he tries to take me down, man, I'm good. I'm golden. And you know when I got to the fight, I was still about 20 over, and yeah, that was the hardest weight cut I've ever had, and didn't have the feet underneath me, and he caught me with an elbow, unfortunately, and that's what happens. You know, that's what happens, and hey, it's back to the drawing board from there. But man, I would if I were to do it over again, I would keep track of my weight and make sure I'm in tip top shape. And if if they if they offered me that fight with 6 weeks notice, I would have took it. I mean, now that I took the fight on 3 weeks notice and lost 30 pounds, like I'd never do that again. Um, so I wish somebody would have told me that that wasn't a good idea, but didn't have anybody to tell me and did it. But it's all good. It's all good.
One fight I'll also remember your career by is your fight against Lyoto Machida. Obviously, that was an interesting one because both you guys were cool. Both of you guys were friends. I don't think both of you guys really wanted to even fight each other. How did that whole contest come about?
So he was supposed to fight Tim Kennedy, and I was supposed to fight Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping backed out because he had a torn retina or something like that, and then Tim Kennedy backed out because he had some type of injury, and I was training him to train against Tim Kennedy, and so we were just doing a lot of like MMA wrestling against the cage, striking the takedowns and all that stuff, and we didn't really spar too much on the feet, um, and so when Dana had called me, he says, "Hey, Bisping's out, Kennedy's out, and you two are free, so we need you guys to fight." I'm like, "What? We're training together, man. Like, I'm teaching them everything I do." And he goes, "Well, if you don't fight, you're not going to fight for another year, 2 years." I'm like, "What?" And then at that time, I had a gym, with, I mean, Lyoto was training with me, Anderson Silva, the Nogueira brothers, Junior Dos Santos, Emmanuel Newton, King Mo, um, Tito Ortiz. I mean, the who's who of the UFC at the time was training with me. And I just like, and I was there all day coaching. And I just like, man, ah, I need to fight because I need to keep this gym open. And so at the time I didn't have that many members. And so yeah, I took the fight and yeah, unfortunately he caught me with the kick, and so hey, that's just the way the ball bounces and the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. So, we didn't want to fight. I didn't want to fight him. He didn't want to fight me. So, and then my training, our striking coach ended up being in his corner. So that was that played a lot in my head. Um, so yeah, it just wasn't a good fight, So, but hey, it is what it is, and you live to fight another day. And he caught me with a kick, and I went down, and the referee called it too soon, and that's just what happened.
You have the honor of fighting in what I call the golden era of mixed martial arts, in my opinion. The UFC has evolved so much since the time you and the rest of the guys really paved the way for what it is today. Do you feel it's different? Like, I'm a big fan of this. I interview guys, but even when I look at these cards now, I don't know everybody, which is not a
Yeah,
bad thing because there are a lot of guys from the
yeah,
regional scene getting their opportunities. But do you feel like the mystique isn't there as much as it was in your prime?
yeah, man. It just there's just not enough time to build up a fight. I think nowadays there's just so many fights that are happening all the time that it's just kind of just uh, it's kind of getting overlooked, kind of, um, so yeah, I just there's just so many fighters, so many cards, um, just I think people kind of lost. I mean, there's your diehard fans, of course, but it's there's just so many cards happening, and then there's other organizations that are happening, and so it's MMA is just happening all the time, and so yeah, I think it just inundates your TV screen, and people just kind of like not watch or kind of be like, oh, I just catch it on ESPN or catch the replay, So yeah, but back then, man, there was not that many fights, and so people were just there was a lot of buildup for it, you know.
I think a major change in the sport now, evolution, is personality. Obviously, you had Chael, you had Tito who really said it, but Conor McGregor put it over the top. Now you got guys putting up facades. They're being people that they're not because they know it gets the title fights. It knows it gets them more money. How do you
Yeah,
think personality has impacted mixed martial arts?
yeah. I mean, it's just like anything, man. I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the attention, right? So, I mean, that's how it's always been. I mean, in a lot of professional sports, but at the same time, if you're doing your job and performing well, then you get the attention as well, so um yeah, I mean, that's just how it happens, but man, a lot of people know how to promote themselves. I mean, Conor McGregor he's a good example. He's well spoken, outspoken, very like brash at times, but people want to know what he says. People want to see him fight. He's a great fighter. So Michael Bisping was the same way. Chael Sonnen was the same way. I mean, there's a lot of guys that talk a big game, but they back it up too. And there's guys that talk a big game but can't back it up, and so they get lost in the shuffle. But if you can talk a big game and back it up, people want to watch you. You know.
Another evolution we see in the sport is the casual fan. Now because it's so big, you have a lot of these people. It's hard for me to go to B dubs or sit in the cheap seats to watch a fight because you get these drunk
Yeah.
people who are yelling, twist them in the what, and they're humping each other and all this stuff. How do you handle the casual fan? Do we need this for the sport? Does it annoy you?
It does annoy me. When I'm at, Buffalo Wild Wings and people are like yelling those obscenities and stuff like that, I'm like, this is not a circus. This is a professional sport. You should know, what these moves are called, and yeah, but at the same time, it's getting attention, and at least they're watching, So, um, but um, but people need to be educated. You know, it does irk me. It does. Um, and I think the more it's out there, the more educated people will be. I feel I feel that it's a new sport, and so you're gonna have those fans that are like that, and I mean, it's just It's just something that happens, and we just got to roll with it. And as time goes on, I think more and more people will get educated.
How's life outside of fighting?
It's cool, man. I actually, I'm walking into my wrestling club right now. Got about 200 kids in my club, uh, all ages from 5 to 18 years old, and I work with a college too, and so I'm coaching all day, every day, and I love it. Doing private training with people, and it's something I love to do, man. It's I've been able to create a life built around sport and the things I love to do and coach and teach and impact people in a positive way while using martial arts. I just love doing it, and so um, for me, it's never been about making a lot of money. It's never been about that. It's about following my passion, and passion. Somebody told me this. Passion stands for pass I on, right? So PASSION. That spells the word passion. But if you break it down, pass I on. So it's like passing what I know onto other people, and that's my passion. And I've been able to do it high levels and at wrestling and MMA, and I love to share it and impact people, and that's what I'm doing now. And I'm doing pretty well doing it. And so I get to coach some fighters still, and I you know um, get kids in college for free, and develop them since they're 5 years old, and coach coaches, and then now I'm coaching college kids. So it's been an amazing go around, man, from the time I started wrestling to where I am now. It's just with all my life experiences and everything that I've learned, it's just culminated to this point, and I'm very thankful for it.
I think one of the big things you see now is the skill level across the board has dramatically over increased. And I think a reason is, it's so culturally accepted now. Kids are doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling at 5, 6 years old. By the time they're 18, they have amateur contests under their belt. By the time they're 21, 22, they might have 4 or 5 pro fights. Do you think that is making this new scene so much talent, so much talent?
Yeah, I think because the sport has evolved, and it's kind of mainstream now. It's on ESPN. It's everywhere. Like I said, I mean, you have cards like all the time, and then there's other organizations that are doing it too. So people know about it. People are engaging in it. People are watching it. People are, you know, um, just um, doing all the like little disciplines that are a part of it too, like jujitsu and Muay Thai and boxing and wrestling. They're all doing all that stuff, and so mixed martial arts is um, is huge. It's big, and so yeah. I mean, the growth of the sport has contributed to that a lot. So. Um, and I'm fortunate and blessed that I've been able to be involved in it and stay involved in it and make a living from it, and so um, I'm really fortunate to do that, man. So I get to wake up and put on my gloves and punch people in the face and love them at the same time, man. So well, other sport you get to be able to do that, and um, so yeah, I'm very fortunate and blessed that I'm able to be in this sport, man. I love doing it.
All right, Mark, last question for you, my friend. Do you think you're going to be involved in combat sports in one way or another for the rest of your life?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from the time I got into it to where I am now, I think I'm going to be coaching until I can't do it anymore. So and I love it. I watch it. I'm into it, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. And so I'm just going to continue to do it and help people and help them do it and impact them in a positive way and make sure they're doing it in the most effective and right way possible.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for your time tonight, man. It's amazing to see what you've done for the sport and how you and the rest of the guys in your time have really paved the way for the guys doing it today. But thank you
I
so much. Enjoy
appreciate
your practice, my friend.
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So that's the Filipino Wrecking Machine, Mr. Mark Munoz on the Fight Dr. Carl Fruza. Stick around, fight fans.